As you know, talked about all day, it is the day that it was announced that OJ Simpson died. I have nothing to say about OJ Simpson, the trial, the slow speed chase, the racial rift that was so apparent in this country when the verdict was announced. All of that stuff is somewhere back in my memory banks, but I do have very vivid memories of it, and I'll tell you the reason why. It had nothing to do directly with a verdict one way or the other, or O.J. Simpson. Yeah, as a kid, well, not as a kid, I mean, Jesus, as an adult, as a young adult, I really could appreciate his efforts as a professional football player, a pitchman for so many different products on television. I really thought he was the persona of the perfect adult male in this country. I mean, good God. O.J. Simpson, the juice, unbelievable. But what happened to me personally that O.J. Simpson caused, I was, what was this, 30 years ago. I was into the radio career that I had. I was maybe 5 or 6 years into the career. And I had just been moved to daytime, a daytime slot on WSB, the powerhouse voice here in the Southeast. You can hear WSB all the way out to Denver, all the way up to Sault Ste. Marie, all the way up to Bangor, Maine. At least back in the day, 30 years ago, you could. It's a very powerful, clear channel station. By clear channel, I don't mean the trade name Clear Channel. I mean nobody else could broadcast on that frequency, 750 on your dial. And that goes back to when radio was first being licensed. There were stations that were determined by the government to only have a certain call signal at a certain place on the radio band. And the purpose for that was in case the President of the United States or whomever had to get in touch immediately with all of America, they would have certain radio stations that would carry the message clearly across huge swaths of population, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I was working for WSB, had just been moved to day part from evening. That was a promotion for me because my ratings were very, very high at night, and they figured, why waste him at night? So they moved me to noon to 3. And here in Atlanta, that meant I was up against head-on the pig man, Rush, may he roast in hell, Limbaugh. He was on a competing station, the same station at the time that carried Sean Hannity here locally. So that was bad enough, but I figured, okay, it'll give the listeners in Atlanta a very clear choice. Do you want a Nazi racist pig, Rush Limbaugh, or do you want a sterling example of white male honesty and progressiveness? Me. You have your choice. Well, the O.J. Simpson thing happened. The charges against him, the slow speed chase, about 1 week into my move to Daypart. Now, noon to 3 here, of course, is 9 until noon a.m., 9 a.m. till noon on the West Coast. Well, from the moment of the high-speed chase until the acquittal, almost every single day, the trial commenced at 9 o'clock actually about 9:15 in California, in Los Angeles, and about 12:15 here in Atlanta. And that was just about the time I was coming on the air after top-of-the-hour news and commercial breaks and yada, yada, yada. And, of course, WSB Radio decided they were going to carry the broadcast. Even though it was on television, WSB also had a TV affiliate here in Atlanta. Hell, they had everything. They had the newspaper, TV, radio, all of it. But the management decided, okay, we're going to carry the audio. We're going to carry it live of this trial, which meant that I was told to put my feet up, read a book, drink some coffee, but I was not going to be on the air while the trial was occurring. So that started, and I was really shocked because I had to not not be a program host in a time slot I had worked my ass off to get. Now, every once in a while, there would be a break in the trial, maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. And then I could jump in and do kind of a brief synopsis of the program I was going to do that morning and then get out of the way for O.J. Simpson. Well, not only did it piss me off, it also cost me my job. Because when the first rating book came out of that unfortunate for me time, and like I said, I admit, this is all about me. It wasn't about two people who had been viciously knifed to death. It wasn't about O.J. Simpson. It wasn't about his family, all the grieving people. It wasn't about the racist divide. It wasn't about the horror of this story. It was all about me in my head. And all I knew was when the rating book came out, Rush Limbaugh had something like a 25 share, and I had like a 3. Well, my time slot had a 3, which meant very clearly that nobody was listening to WSB Radio's coverage of the O.J. Simpson trial. But that didn't matter to management. They just kept doing it. And I think one of the reasons they were looking for a reason to broom that liberal, that would be me. So within a couple of weeks after the trial, I was called into the general manager's office and told that Dr. Laura was going to replace me. Here's your severance pay, Malloy. There is the door. Security, would you walk Mr. Malloy to the exit? Well, so that was the end of that. And for the next couple of years, I did an entirely different thing, and then finally got hired by ABC in Chicago. But there was that brief moment here in Atlanta where I thought, okay, I'm going to go up against Rush Limbaugh. I'm going to kick his ass up around his shoulders. Well, didn't happen. As a matter of fact, I was absolutely submerged under the combined weight of the O.J. Simpson murder trial and Rush Limbaugh. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So when I heard this morning that O.J. Simpson died at the age of 76 of prostate cancer or whatever, there was a momentary flip back to not so much the trial, but back to O.J. Simpson himself. I don't believe in heroes except it's a sandwich. But I did have a lot of, offhand respect for him because, like I said, to me, for a number of years when he played for Buffalo, when he was at USC, on and on and on, I just thought he was the perfect American male. Erudite, handsome, athletic, a good pitch man, smiling all the time, dating beautiful women. I mean, what more could an American male want? Nothing. That was it. Oh, and the money. So the fame, the money, on and on and on. O.J. Simpson. I even forgave him his name, Orenthal. Whatever. But to me, he was the juice. He was O.J., like to a lot of people in this country. And one of the things I learned from O.J., though, was it got to the point, and I state this just openly and without any kind of expectation as a result of your hearing me say this, but O.J. represented to me, even more than Barack Obama, the erasure of racist bullshit. Because, I was no fool. I could see how people, white men especially, were so in favor of O.J. when he played, when he was running back for the Buffalo Bills. And I could hear the guys at the bar talking about what a great man he was and what a gorgeous wife he had and all this other stuff. And very seldom, if ever, did I hear any racial comments about O.J. Simpson until the verdict. And once the verdict was read, in the courtroom, I do remember very clearly here in Atlanta, there was two reactions. And your reaction, if you lived here in Atlanta, depended almost solely on your race. If you were black, you cheered the verdict. If you were white, you had a big droopy frown on your face and you went, "Oh no!" And up until that moment, that was what kind of crushed me, where it concerned maybe we're past this racial bullshit here in the buckle of the Bible Belt. Well, like I say, that feeling lasted until the verdict. So, O.J. Simpson, maybe as you promised after you were acquitted, you promised you would search the rest of your life for the perpetrator who killed your wife and Ron Goldman. Okay, maybe, just maybe, you'll find him in hell, you think? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.